Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio was my most anticipated movie of 2022 for a lot of reasons. And now that it's finally here, I watched it on Netflix a couple weeks ago, and I gotta say, it was beautiful. It is one of the most impressive films of all time. And I say this because I'm a big Guillermo del Toro fan, but also the movie really stands out on its own. I think Guillermo del Toro is one of the best filmmakers today, if not the best filmmaker today, because I really admire a lot of the ways he uses fantasy, he writes, and thinks about really deep and complex subjects and also presents them in a way that everybody can understand. And Pinocchio is full of that. This is a beautiful animated film from beginning to end. And there's so many things I want to talk about Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. It is definitely one of the best movies I've seen in a while. And I want to go over each one of the things that I enjoyed a lot about the movie. So let's go on with the plot and the context of this film. So the story of Pinocchio is one that we've seen many times over the years, reimagined in several ways in both animated, live action films, but this one is truly special for a lot of reasons. I think this movie is full of Del Toro's signature style, and it also is blessed with a really impressive stop motion animation, and the puppets used in this movie are incredible. So let's start with the design and the themes of the movie. I think that every single scene, every single frame is just beautifully shot, beautifully animated, and also it works really well with the stories because Guillermo del Toro is known for his distinctive dark fantasy style, more like kind of like with horror themes and a lot of things that make it work in its own way. And this movie is a little bit more family friendly. It's not like Pan's Labyrinth or some of his other movies that are more directed at a more mature audience. Like there's a lot of really heartwarming moments, a lot of moments that kids could enjoy, but it's also like injected with his signature things that make him really good as a filmmaker. For example, the film starts off in Italy between World War One and World War Two, right at the start of the rise of fascism, and this plays a lot into the story in a lot of ways. And along with that, it also deals with really important themes such as existentialism, such as religion, a lot of things that I really enjoyed, and also it really humanizes its characters, especially Geppetto. So I think Geppetto more than Pinocchio, I mean, I feel like Geppetto and Pinocchio are both the main characters of this story instead of only Pinocchio. And it starts off when the beginning of the movie, he loses his son and he becomes really depressed. And this movie really does a great job of humanizing this character in ways we haven't seen before. And I really enjoyed the way it was done and the way these feelings of loss, of depression, of feeling that you've lost something very important to you and you want to replace it play very well in the story later on when Pinocchio becomes alive. So after Geppetto loses his son Carlo, he decides to make another son, which is basically Pinocchio. He makes him out of wood, and Pinocchio comes to life. So it has a lot of the things that from the classic story from like the Disney movie, but like during the first half, and then the second half becomes really different in a lot of ways. So I really enjoyed the way Guillermo del Toro took the story and said, you know what, we're gonna do this my way. And the movie had complete creative freedom. That's something I really appreciated about Netflix, that they basically let Guillermo del Toro do whatever he wants with the movie, especially with some really big story beats. I'm gonna get a little bit into spoilers. If you don't want to get the movie spoiled, skip to the end or watch the movie first because it is really important to talk about these things. For example, towards the end of the movie, Pinocchio goes instead of going to like a island where everything is fun, everything is candy, and then he turns into a donkey like in the 1940s movie. Pinocchio goes into a fascist army camp with a lot of other kids who are trained to go to war, and that is something that is really impressive because Guillermo del Toro really takes this topic that is war and does something really impressive with it. And the way it deals with these themes really hit Pinocchio in several different ways because in the beginning of the movie, there's even a song about it. Also, I'll get a little bit into the music because it's really good. But he sings a song about how he's new into the world. He doesn't understand how things work. He's trying to learn how several concepts work, such as love, such as loss, grief, and the way he learns this is really impressive. So in this camp, Pinocchio learns about the horrors of war. Gets several different reality checks, and it really happens at several points during the movie, like when he is taken by this Count Volpe, which is like the replacement for I think it was a cat and a fox in the original. He is basically the guy who takes Pinocchio across the world to make money with them as a show puppet. And this character was really good, and I think it had a lot of potential to make this movie like this character voiced by Christopher Waltz, by the way, really like powerful villain, like a really interesting character because he's like so scummy, and Pinocchio really has a tough time like trying to get money for his father, trying to, have a lot of responsibilities, but at the same time, going around the world with his character. So during the course of the movie, Pinocchio learns a lot of lessons, and this culminates a lot with a very specific scene. Well, several different scenes that have to do with death. So this is an aspect I really enjoyed about the movie, and this was like peak Del Toro because in the movie Pinocchio dies several ways, and it is revealed like he can't really die until the very end, where he kind of like gives up this power in order to save his father, which was a really heartwarming moment for me. And basically the scenes where he like goes and explores the, the afterlife or whatever you want to call it, were really well done. It has really impressive characters like the two angels, which is basically death, and also the other angel who gave him life in the beginning of the movie, are impressive, really impressive characters. I really enjoyed these characters. I wish we would have seen more of them, but I think it was really well done the way they deal with these themes. So the plot and the story are really good, but also have to admire all the other things that carry this movie, which are basically the writing, the animation, and also the music. So the music is really good. There's a lot of songs in this movie. It's kind of like a musical in a way. The songs are pretty short, but they're also really impactful, really good. I think it did a great job, like the way they introduced these songs into the story. They're also really pretty, and the animation, obviously, like I talked before, it's impressive. Like every single frame, every single movement with these characters is just really well done. And I think it took like 15 years of really intense work to do this, and it really shows in the final product. I think this movie really just screams passion at every single point in the movie. And with everything, with the writing, you can really tell that Guillermo del Toro had a really intense vision for the movie. I can imagine it wasn't easy, especially with the animation. Some of the, really intense choices and crazy choices he made with the story that worked out really well in the end. But I think everything paid off in a lot of ways. And yeah, I really, really, really like this movie. I think it is basically my favorite of the year. I can't really explain why I like this movie so much. I also the way it made me feel like a child again. I think it was really great. I feel like if this movie came out 10 years ago, I would have really, really enjoyed it. I think it just did everything in a lot of ways, and I just cannot express a lot like enough my love for this movie. So I think I'm gonna wrap the review up. I loved Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. Please, if you hadn't watched it, please see it in Netflix. It's right there. And yeah, so overall, I'm gonna give it a 98 out of 100. And the reason I gave it a 98 out of 100 is because I think this movie needs a little time to like sit in my mind to age well. I think it's gonna age greatly, but I feel like there's a lot of things that I really like don't elevate it up to 100%, but I just loved it in so many ways. Maybe I'll give it 100% in the future, but for now it's gonna be 98. But yeah, I really love the movie. I think it did a lot of great things, and yeah, so that's pretty much all my thoughts. Well, most of my thoughts about Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. I feel like there's gonna be a lot of things to analyze in the future. But yeah, for now, that's all my thoughts on it. And yeah, so if you like this review, please check out my other reviews, follow me on Twitch, and follow my other two YouTube channels, Tomorrow Matters. So, anyways, that's everything for today. Thank you for watching this review, and I'll see you next time.